Okay, this is a practice take. This is a review from an Amazon product. It's a knockoff Chinese handy tool. $29 Canadian. I'll put the more information when I do a real video. I can't even see what I'm filming. This is one of those multi 15-in-1 tools, and I'm going to go over the cons first. Sorry, the pros first, and the cons second. The most pro thing I can say is I can lose this. It's $29. Now this is pushing $200. I can't afford to lose this. An original Gerber. Okay? I can't afford to buy these all the time. This I can lose. So that's the first pro. Before anything. Let's just go over the features here. Let's start with the file. One at a time here. And I do some mods to all of these things that I buy so they last a little bit. First one is that. See that? That's JB weld on all of them. If they don't turn, they might not go loose on me. All right. Obviously a piece of white because it's so dark in here I can't find it. The file. First things first about the file. See that corner right there? I rounded that corner off because if you don't, it's a sharp little corner right there that's pretty irritating. So I rounded it off. I overdid it a little bit. I should have gone a little bit less. But the thing seems to function, at least the coarse side, right? The fine side, well, it's more for polishing. And yeah, it kind of polishes. So if you can trim your nail down, polish it up a little, that works. That's a 4 out of 5. It even has a backup can opener. That's 2. And the closures on all of these are not bad. Remember, cycle through the closures. You never pause a blade right here because you're flexing the spring. Go from open, past that, to close. All very quickly. So that worked okay. We're over here. What's next? Oh yeah, I guess next would be, oh yeah, my favorite. Nope. Next is the primary, I guess, screwdriver. It's got a pretty good tooth on it, proper bottle opener, and overall, yeah, it seems to function as advertised. And here we go. Here's the big one. Third in line, the infamous scissors. All right, and if you read the reviews on this particular tool, I'll put the description in the photograph somewhere. They don't think they work, and in reality, when you first buy these, they do not work. They're not really sharp, and they kind of maybe work. But to get them to work properly, you have to get some 400 grit paper like this, okay, and carefully cut the sandpaper. Okay, move along, hold them straight up and down, and cut. And make sure you are successful with the cut. If for any reason the sandpaper folds in between, you will damage the scissors, make them worse. So be very careful and cut a number of, and then don't forget to flip it over and do the other side, right? See that? Now if you check carefully, you should see, that light's kind of crappy, but I've gotten a little shininess happening there, and that puts an edge on things. And if you do it right, you can get some confetti out of it. And the same goes with paper. Look at this. I think you can do that with a knife, right? You know, take my word for it, this managed to get through that. Where are we here? Scissors. Sometimes you can pound this rivet on an anvil with a hammer carefully and tighten these up if you're really serious about getting better performance. Or you can also go on this surface here with a good diamond file or something and give that a bit of a sharp edge. But make sure it's not rounded. It's going to be really flat. Maybe tilt it back just a bit if you want to bring them up to like a Gerber grade. On the Gerber, if you look carefully at the scissors, they have a bevel on them. See that bevel right there? Where are we? And there's a bevel right along here. That's what makes them scissors, right? It's tilted a little bit down. They put a bit of effort into them. So that's what makes them cut better. But that's a $200 Gerber. This is 29 bucks. Aside from the scissors, yeah, they do have a spring to them, which is, I kind of like. So they function. They won't cut fishing line or much other than paper. They won't cut a plastic bag. They will cut thread, providing the thread is under load. Then it will cut it. That goes for a lot of other things, right? Again, you want to go through the spring. Pretty good function on that, and close them definitively. Okay, next is this this rope cutter. I would have preferred a can opener, but I guess this could be used for a seat belt or cutting a rope of some description. They've ground it down. It looks pretty angry in there, and it's again, it's got a good function to it. So I like that so far. Next is the actual blade. And I bought this whole thing because I've had my left hand wrapped around a piece of rope on a sailboat before, and because I had a knife that could do this one-handed, I was able to free myself. Now, people that buy these things go, well, they don't know, well, how do I close the blade? Yeah, you need to note that there's a little notch in there. You'll see it's got some teeth on it. It's locking the blade out. You need to engage that, and the blade will close. Now watch. See that? It's not like spring-loaded. This is a new mechanism of closure. It's not like the other tools. They will snap. They've got a wonky kind of friction fit thing happening up in here somewhere. And it's brand new to me. Something tells me that it'll be all right. But if you were probably to play with this enough, again, this is not a toy. You use it when you need it. You play with this enough, I bet you it will loosen up. But I hope never to deploy the damn thing. So I think it'll stay closed. Get back to the keys here shortly. Where are we now? That was this side. Now let's look at this side. Okay, this is the infamous whistle and fire starter. You can pull this out of the knife and put it back in twice. After 2 times, it will become loose on you, right? But I don't need to show or blow the whistle or start a fire right now, so I'm leaving it. In fact, we talked about JB Weld everywhere on the screws. I'm going to put a little dab of Elmer's glue in here, just to hold it. I don't want I never tolerate lash in anything in my life. If it's moving like this, it will wear out. So I'll put some white glue there that I can overpower if and when I ever need this silly little thing. Because that's an important part of the handle, to have that. It's actually quite comfortable. And where are we now? Oh yeah. Now we've got one of the reasons why I bought this thing, and that's this. A nice little Phillips drive. And it's got a good positive feel to it. It really feels pretty tight. And it's a good size number 2 Phillips probably. Now let's have a look at the included drivers. And I'll go into the cons, the cons fairly shortly. These can be handy. Having one of these on you in a certain circumstance can really get your butt out of a situation. Now I'm in Canada, so this thing came with most of the common bits, except for this one. This is a number 2 Robertson. Canada is screwed together with this one particular drive. Ask any carpenter. All the drywall screws, a lot of wood screws all around. We all use these square drives. Americans had the sun in their eyes, so they tend to use Phillips a bit more. I also changed out one of these wonky hex drives into a number 1 Robertson. So that way it covers most of what I'm hopefully not going to encounter. Wait a minute now. Here's this adapter, and it goes onto the screwdriver. And it got a positive enough magnet to it where it won't drop out, but it's just enough. Works okay. You can grab a bit, like my Robertson, drop it in there, and that will, only have so much torque involved, but it's certainly better than nothing at all. And I have been in situations where I needed desperately to find one of these stupid drivers. That's one of the reasons why I bought this rig. And you could change it out. And it's probably fairly handy to have with you. So that's the screwdriver connection. So that appears to be most of the, except for, obviously, except for the pliers. Let's go over those. They have a pretty good feel to them. Needle nose. Now, my Gerber obviously is a square head, what we call a snub, and this is going to be my general first choice. But there are circumstances where only needle nose will reach in there and do it. So it's nice to have both. I lubed up lubricant. I put a little bit of drop of oil in here, but I haven't done anything else with anything here, especially this knife that I don't know what's going to happen if you lube it. But I'll probably put a bit of beeswax on the drives everywhere else. It's reasonably tight. It's not very much lash at all. There's no lash in that I can feel in the drives. And I did cut some wires with this, and they work okay. Again, it likes to be supported on both sides of the wire, right? That goes for a lot of things. But it seems to function hard. And I'll probably put a little bit of oil in these hinges eventually, and then it gets to here, and it closes. So it's a 3.5 to 4 for the $29 Canadian, so 12 US. I'm just kidding, but it's heavy. It's got some beef to it, and I think for an everyday driver or something I can lose, it's not bad. So overall, it's not bad. The case. Here's one of the few things that are a bit odd. I'll have to post a photograph. I've also got a light nearby. Yeah, here's a light. Maybe you can see. The tools fit inside there, but you see that they have difficulty making a nice fitting flap in there. So it's sort of the tools fit in. You can kind of get them in. Right, they kind of get in there, but they're pretty wonky. Oh, didn't even engage that time. Right, you have to sometimes pull out that flap, which is sort of a train wreck. All right, I guess they've got to make some concessions somewhere. Like it's come unglued. I could try and sew that up or something, but for now, I think it just seems to want to kind of work. And I pulled the flap up over it. See that? Now I'm trying to push it down there a bit so that it kind of sits in place a little. But when you put the tool itself in, you kind of want to angle it a little bit. I have to put it in so this is facing forward on the upward side of the tool. And it does fit in, but do it a couple of times and you'll just mush down that thing. Watch. See? It's just been mushed. And it'll just sit there like that. So I don't quite know what to do about that. I mean, they had to chimp somewhere, right? Case is a little plastic thing. I kind of like that. So I might just cut that out. Maybe put a Band-Aid or something in there, or just leave the damn thing. May not need these tools very often. I hope not to use this thing hardly ever. Hope the world behaves itself. So that's one of the things that is kind of cheesy. The snap is good. Right? It snaps well. I put a bit of beeswax on this. And remember, always be quick with these snaps. Right? Don't lollygag, pull them quickly. So aside from the munching of the bits, which I do want to have with me, I think it's going to function not too badly. On these, you'll be able to see that I've done some sewing along here. I kind of want that to be a little beefier than the single stitching they put on it. So I took a needle. You can do that. You can push it through with your hand and sew a bunch of stitching on there. And I'll wear it for a while, see what happens. These may be overstressed, in which case I might put an entire patch over the whole thing and sew the hell out of it if it's a problem. Because I'd rather not this thing let go on me and then lose the damn thing just because of that. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 to 4 for the money on this tool. And I'll put the description in a photograph in the same file. Anyway, that's a review from Brian up here in Canada. Everybody stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you on the next video, hopefully. Bye for now.